Hi everyone, I am Shirley, and I'm a senior actuarial science major here at Morris University, and I studied the introduction of actuarial science to secondary students with the help of Dr. Hudak. So just a couple of things that I'm going to go through today is first give just a brief overview of what actuarial science is, a lot of what my program will also teach as well, and then the current actuarial outreach program to secondary students, and then my proposed program to be used in its components, execution, and the goals of the program itself. So first, actuarial science as a profession. It's a very up-and-coming profession. There's expected to have about 18% growth over the next decade, whereas the U.S. Aggregate average growth will only be about 7%. So it's a very up-and-coming career. And so in general, actuaries generally work and use financial math as well as probabilities to evaluate risk, oftentimes in the insurance setting. This can be life insurance, health insurance, property casualty insurance, and about 70% of actuaries working in the field today do work in the insurance setting. Others work in consulting or government agencies. Now, to be accredited, to get those credentials within actuarial science, there are generally two, at an associateship level and a fellowship level, and there are two different societies you can go through to receive these. This is the Society of Actuaries and Casualty Actuarial Society. Both of these require a series of exams that are rather difficult, require about 300 hours is what's given as a benchmark to study for each of these exams. So it takes a lot of time and effort. But then once you get through all of these, there is a really good job outlook. As I said, there's a lot of growth, and there's also a lot of other benefits. It's high paying, kind of low stress, good work-life balance, and things like that. And so while this is such a great career to go into, there's not really been a lot of outreach done, and not a lot of students really know about it or even know what an actuary is. The one main actuarial outreach big program that I found was at Lebanon Valley College in Annville, Pennsylvania, which has a week-long summer camp that you stay there and requires an application. You can really get a hands-on introduction to actuarial science while you're still in high school. But other than that, there's some university recruitment. Sometimes professors or actuaries in the field will go into high schools and give different speeches or lectures or programs on actuarial science, but this is not really no widespread curriculum or anything like that. However, there has been a lot, over the past decade or so, a lot of push for STEM outreach. So we can use some of those. There's been a lot of research done on the programs itself and what makes them more effective or less effective. And we can use these techniques, the best practices from those STEM outreach programs, and create an actuarial science outreach program. So that is what I aim to do, to introduce actuarial science at the high school level in a day-long or half-a-day-long program. It will include three components: an introductory video, an informational PowerPoint presentation, and an interactive game. So first, the program will start with a video which shows you interviews with current actuarial science college students. And they will learn more about what the day-to-day life is, what they could see themselves being when they study actuarial science in college. They will talk about the exam process, how they have studied for it, have they succeeded and maybe not succeeded, and how they cope with that, as well as what the work-life balance is, how they balance their academics with the exam process, with searching for internships and extracurricular activities. But also with the internships, how they found those internships, what their experiences were like, how they were beneficial, and things like that. And just finally, any advice that they have for students that they wish they would have had when they were in high school. And next, there will be a PowerPoint, which will touch on three main things: what is an actuary, why there should be one, and how do you become one. So this will give a lot more information on, like I gave earlier, where actuaries work, what they do, what skills are important to have to be successful, as well as why they should become one. So again, some of the things I touched on earlier, but in more detail on the benefits of being an actuary and why they specifically may be interested based on their interest in math or business or things of that nature, and how they become one. So some things that you can do in high school, some classes you can take, some experiences you can take advantage of, as well as how to choose a college. There's a lot of colleges that are centers of actuarial excellence, including our Morris, and how you can identify which colleges have the better programs, what might be the best fit for you, whether you want to go to a school that is an accredited center of actuarial excellence or a school that maybe just has a math program, or what might be the best thing for you and for your future career. And finally, the presentation will include an interactive game. So this will be a simulation of car insurance. So will be done in small groups. Use dice to simulate different things that might happen in the year, and you'll learn how premiums are paid, how premiums are calculated, what factors go into it, like where you live, what kind of car you have, how old you are, and a lot of those different factors. You can see how it plays into pricing the premium, as well as how years go on, how things might change, and things like that. So this has kind of two goals within it. One, to just expose you to the insurance concepts like premiums and how they're calculated and how insurance even works as at a practical level. But also using the dice, there's a lot of probabilities that are involved with that. So you can also, there will be provided discussion questions so you can talk about how these probabilities work and how you can maybe calculate and predict what's going to happen next, similar to what actuaries often do in the workplace. So there are a couple things that you can also do that we took from the STEM outreach to make it more effective. So the execution can really be better. And one thing is for the presenters to actually be someone from the actuarial field and very knowledgeable on actuarial science. So whether that be a professor, someone in the workplace, a retired actuary, perhaps a student who has some internship experience, who can really speak from a more practical level. And this is important for a couple of reasons. One, they can answer questions that sometimes a high school teacher or a guidance counselor might not always be able to answer at quite the technical level or the practical level that students might desire. And also they can talk more from experience and give examples more than some other presenters might be able to give. And second, to be more effective and to really capture the students that might be the most likely to go into actuarial science, you want to target students that not only have an aptitude for math, but also a passion for math, so kind of those self-selected students too, as well as those who are good at math and business. So you might go into honors and AP math courses at the high school level, but you also want to make sure you catch them at the right time. You don't necessarily want to introduce actuarial science to seniors in the spring when they have already probably come up with, they have an idea of what they want to major in, where they want to go to school, but catch them a little bit earlier where they're still interested, to spark their interest in actuarial science, so at the sophomore or junior level. So finally, some goals for this. Effectiveness can't really be shown in a very short amount of time because it will be shown when students who receive the program go into actuarial science. It can be done in a number of ways to track these students if you want to see if people who receive the program really do later go into actuarial science more than students who don't. So that could be interesting research done on the program itself, similar to what has been done on some STEM outreach. In the future, after it's been perhaps going on for a few years, you can see that happen and they go into the workforce or study in college. But not just the students, there are a lot of beneficiaries for this. This can be mostly educational bodies. At the high school level, guidance and career counselors, gifted and talented coordinators can use this, as well as math and business teachers. But then also at the university level, or even workplaces can use it for recruitment to teach students, potential students about actuarial science. But it can also be used at the university level, be provided to math education majors so that they can perhaps use it in their future classrooms as well to introduce actuarial science to the students. So there's a lot of different ways to make this as effective as possible to introduce students to actuarial science.